Hey guys, welcome back to another session. Today I'm going to talk about how to attempt your CBSE 10th social science paper. And my name is Aarshpreet. I'm a master teacher of social studies at Vedantu. And today we're going to talk something really interesting that might amaze a lot of you, and most of you might feel it. Okay, we know these common things, but trust me, I'm going to talk and take you to the next level. So let's get started on. And by the way, I have a big announcement coming your way. So just stay tuned till the end of the video so that you get to know what is the important information. Okay guys, so moving on, I would like to tell you, see, it's very important, first of all, when we talk about social studies or maybe any exam. There's a common notion that, eventually when you start writing the paper, I know I've done it like over the span that I've been studying in my school years. This is a common thing that I've been doing. What I used to do is, every time I used to start with my paper, I used to write it very neatly. I used to make proper space, put proper space, and eventually I used to realize, when some time used to pass and I used to reach in the middle of the question paper, get really tired, get really sick of what I am doing. Eventually my handwriting also used to reflect the same way. It used to show that, okay, I am really getting aggressive and I am getting angry. And I hope the same goes for you also. So when you start the paper, you start writing it very neatly. You start with a very good, on a very good note. And then you start losing interest, and then you're like, okay, we anyway need to fill up the sheet, maybe any sort of handwriting. That won't matter. But here, let me tell you, see, writing neatly in an exam is one of the most important things. At first, when the teacher will look at your paper and find your work neat, then automatically he or she will be impressed. You have to understand, the way you dress up is automatically going to reflect, and everybody's going to comment on your personality. So similarly, you must be, familiar with the proverb that we often say, first impression is the last impression. So sometimes it also happens that when you work, when your work is neat, the teacher is little bit lenient in checking. Yes, it does happen, but that's not the case with every teacher. Everybody is not that cool and kind, I would say. So honestly, no teacher likes to check the untidy paper. First of all, whenever he sees your paper untidy, I really see that something goes wrong. What happens, he or she probably gets angry. Of course, that's the first thing. Might get irritated also, because the teacher has to check so many papers for the whole class and not just you. And and to understand a bad handwriting is the most difficult task of the world. You don't understand if you've written the important information or not. Take example of that doctor's handwriting. Don't you get annoyed? You have to anyway turn to the chemist or a pharmacist that, okay, please help us figure out what he has written. You even can't figure out what is the dose, how you're supposed to take the medicine. It's hard. So imagine what state of mind might the teacher be in. So secondly, it will be really difficult for the teacher to read what's written, and if the thing that you have written is right, the teacher couldn't get that. Why the teacher couldn't get it? And that's all, I guess. If the teacher is not able to get it, I guess it's all a waste, and you get a big anda, a big zero. So it's better to improve on your handwriting rather than losing your hard-earned marks unnecessarily. So this is something that I want to start this note on, that neat handwriting is going to go a long way when you talk about presenting any paper. May it be social studies, may it be English, may it be physics, may it be chemistry. It's anyway going to stay with you. Especially good it's like answers in good handwriting really get above average marks. The person who checks copies gets Actually, I'll tell you a secret. So the person who checks your copies get paid for every copy. Therefore, the person who wants to make more and more money would probably, he'll just scan your sheet and look for the relevant answer. So if the person is not able to understand what you've written, then there are chances that you might not be getting marks. There's also a chance that the examiner might give you below the average mark, in spite including all the relevant points, whatever has been asked in the question paper. This generally happens. However, I'll tell you, most of the examiners check the answer booklets in a hurry, and if you've not written a good answer, but in an if you've written a good answer but in an untidy handwriting, chances are that he or she might end up giving you less than the average marks than what you actually deserve. Yes. And sometimes I'll tell you a very important secret. So it's secret that is, a very good handwriting can actually hide mistakes. Imagine I've made a mistake right here. So if I had not, if suppose I had written, I wanted to write H this way, and by mistake I just gave a C, and now I do like this, and then I bring it to your notice that I've made a mistake. I guess it's going to be pretty much prominent. So it is a common strategy of the students while answering in the examination. Students attempt those questions that they feel very confident. So when the examiner finds, first 10 answers in neat and clean handwriting, all the relevant points, then he or she will give you full marks anyway. Now, examiner, the minute he arrives at the 11th answer and it's not up to the mark, or there are a lot of error, then chances are that students will even get marks for the same, because you've created that image. And also, trust me, good handwriting does show high confidence level. Some people or teachers have certain assumptions in their mind, like students write answers in especially in poor handwriting when they don't know the answer correctly, or they don't know the complete answers. That is why they get really angry and really get frustrated, and that is when they start using bad, they don't write a very good handwriting. So sometimes a person with good handwriting gets the advantage of such assumptions, so-called assumptions, and even may end up getting good marks for the incomplete answers. So it's your call how you want to go. So I would like to evaluate, or summarize whatever I have said. During the evaluation process, there are no marks for neat and clean handwriting. Let me put it this way. But there is high possibility that students with neat and clean handwriting may get more than average marks, and the students with untidy handwriting may get low marks for a correct answer or a well written answer. So while you are attempting the CBSE board examinations, I expect you guys to write in neat and clean handwriting. So moving on to social studies. So I know most of you have this facial expression. When I talk about social, it's like this. Social studies is the study of being social. Why do we get so much negative remarks on that? Okay, you can't study social studies, or maybe people often come and tell us that social studies is really boring, you won't find anything interesting. It's like that stereotype right here in the mind of the people. Okay, then I even get to see this expression, go to social studies one more time and I am done. I'm going to kill that person whosoever, came up with this concept that we have to write big, complete answers. Okay, now one more thing. is right here. So when you have that one social studies teacher that's always trying to, roast on you, you get that clumpy expression. I understand. I totally understand this, guys. I've been, going through this. But anyway, coming back to the topic, how you are supposed to attempt the question paper. See, I'll tell you, in CBSE, maybe 10th class, one of the key thing that we can probably do is, key ways to reduce our anxiety is actually to prepare well. Yes, it is to prepare well in advance, and not leave any topic for the last minute. You can anyway revise the topics, but try not to leave any topic. It's very important for the students to take it in their stride and prepare thoroughly for the same subject that they, suppose I'm talking about social studies. It's very important to have carefully planned and work hard on the same. But okay, eventually nobody comes realizes this until it's a doomsday, or it's a final day when you have to sit for the exam, and there's this social studies exam right near the corner, and you're like, oh god, we wasted an year, almost an year, and now what we are supposed to do, how we are supposed to go on. So I understand that. So now I'm going to tell you what, how to write an ideal answer for CBSE board exam. Like, guys, before I tell this, you guys already know in social studies, you have 4 components: history, civics, geography, and economics. They carry the weightage of 20 marks each. So it's like 80 marks, and you have to attempt for 80 marks in 3 hours. And you guys are lucky enough, because anyway we had to write down enough for 100 marks and the same duration. So I would say our generation, though there's not enough gap, I still consider myself to be really young and of your age. So okay, jokes apart. So anyway, you guys are so lucky that you don't have to cover a lot of syllabus now. Just 80 marks and you're good to go in 3 hours. It's like this quick. But yes, there's a way. See, the CBSE examiners, they do expect you to write an ideal answer. How you can do it? First of all, I would like to tell you, plan your preparation thoroughly. And methodologically right before the exam. Plan subject wise. You may start with history revision first, as it is. Just try to start with history, I would say. Why I suggest you to do it? Because it is more lengthy and it will take more time. So now once you're done with this, then you can plan to study or maybe revise political science, as you have to memorize most of the chapters in this case. Then geography, if I talk about geography, so it requires more of understanding. And that would probably wrote out your entire score. Even if you do not know the exact answers in geography, general answers are always awarded marks, especially in questions related to, you have a lot of questions like water resources, energy resources. So you anyway have been studying this for long, and I don't think it's going to take much of an effort for you to write an answer like that. Then you have then you can jump on to, after this geography, you can jump to economics at the end. As it has in 10th class, it has the least number of chapters. Talk about history, I would say yes, history has 4 chapters, economics has some more chapters, but anyway it's going to be easy for you to revise economics at the end. So choose or revise economics at the end, as it has at least, I would say, it needs less amount of effort. So it will also increase your score, because you have certain questions on topics which are repeated. See, eventually if you start revising in this note, on this note, and most of the question, what happens, there are certain questions on topics which are repeated every year. And also by attempting those value-based questions, you can certainly increase your score. So once you're done with the subject, do a consolidated study and holistically, analyze social studies as a subject. If not, your teacher who's going to teach you, just make sure you make will probably do it for you. And at your end, just try to make bullet notes of all the important topics. That is going to help you. Scan each and every page of your NCERT. That is very important. CBSE board strictly follows NCERT book. And over the years, every single question has been asked from this NCERT book that they asked you. Once you are very thorough with your NCERT book, only then, if required, you can go to the reference book or something. Take some mock test or available online, or maybe from our website. We take a lot of online. We conduct tests on and off. So also try to solve the sample papers which are available on CBSE websites. So just try to go this way. Attempt what you are thorough with. When it comes that you have to attempt the question paper, I would say whatever you are thorough with, try to attempt it first. Do not take 1 mark question lightly. I always say, see, the question pattern is going to be in history, it's going to be 1 mark, 3 mark, and it's going to be 5 mark. But most of us, what we do, we say, okay, it's 1 mark anyway, let it be. We don't give it importance. But I just want to tell you, please do not take 1 mark questions lightly. They can be tricky sometimes. But if you are thorough with your subject, 1 mark question are the most scoring. Then attempt 3 mark questions in points. Try to write it in points, and always write an extra point if you have time. Always follow your point with at least 1 line explanation. Especially when you're attempting 3 mark question, you try to give it in pointers and a line, explain it in a line. And talking on about 5 mark question, let me tell you something about 5 mark questions. Please attempt 5 mark question also in points. The 5 points to be very, they should be precise, but do not forget to explain these points, as they are very, it's sort of a long answer question. So I would say substantiate your answer with diagrams in geography, with flow charts in political science. That is going to make sense and help you improve it. So for questions like, if for example there are questions where they ask you to define, maybe they ask you to differentiate, always I would say, please substantiate your answer with suitable examples. This is very, very important. Whenever they ask you to define, differentiate, try to give examples. Math questions, geography is a short scorer, especially when you talk about map question. You have map questions from history. You have map question from geography. So it's a short scorer. You might be asked about soils, the obvious question that you can expect. Soils, airports, dams, nuclear power projects, and a lot more. So just mark them clearly, with the pen. Do not use sketch pen for that. Leave, when you are attempting the question paper or, trying to solve it, just leave 15 minutes duration so that you can revise whatever you've written. Scan through, both the question paper and the answer sheet if you've left any unattempted question. Also check for any improvement in any particular answer if you think that it's important to improve or you need to make changes. But I would say last but not the least, just keep wits about yourself and maintain a very calm and confident outlook while attempting your question paper. Especially in social studies, I know it tends to get scary, but at the end of the day, it's just a subject. Trust me, it's just a subject. It's just our myth about social studies that we don't follow the right strategy. like I told you, we have India's history questions for 20 marks, geography question again for 20 marks, democratic politics, or you call it civics, it's going to be for 20 marks, economics for 20 marks, and finally the total is going to be for 80 marks. This is a pattern. Now I'm going to show you how you are supposed to, how I expect you guys to attempt the question paper. This is the block diagram. So all you can do is, like I told you, please try to supplement your answers with block diagrams, or maybe when you are asked to differentiate, give definition, try to use pointers. This is how I want the answer to look like. So this won't make sense. This is a big no-no. Whereas a answer written like this in pointers with all the important pointers, underline something. If there's something very important, you please underline that section. This is the correct way to attempt a question. Then I told you, please supplement your answers with block diagrams. This will help you give a, give a very presentable outlook to your answer sheet. Then maybe you can use flow charts like this. Again, a very important aspect that you need to cover. And especially when you are asked to differentiate, please write it in this manner. It's very important to differentiate in this manner. Try not to write in paragraph, because when we start writing in paragraph is what we tend to do. We suppose they have asked us to talk about renewable and non-renewable resources. Now what we generally do, we generally start with renewable resources. We think of something, okay, this happened, mom cooked this today, it was not tasty. Eventually we jump to non-renewable resources. Then we write a line about renewable resources, again non-renewable. So this is gonna create a big mess. And I don't want that to happen with you. And I don't want you to commit that blunder. So the best suggestion that I can make in this case is, please, make a different table and then just point out the important points and place them parallel to each other in the space available and under the relevant headings. This is the best way you can attempt a question that is asked to, you're asked to differentiate or, find out the points that these things are different from each other, anything. This is how you're supposed to mark the exact location in a map. For example, you've asked Salal project, please don't write, without marking this, just write Salal. This is Jammu and Kashmir. This is not Salal. You have to make an exact location, right? It's right here, and then tell this is Salal project. Okay, so talking about, either you can put it like this, mark it with a number and then give a box. First I've marked, let's say, oil field. Then I've marked about something, the soil cover, anything of that sort, but that should look more presentable. Now, in social studies, it's always said that, visual aids are known for increasing the learning. And we here at Vedantu really help you do that. We try to associate visual aids. We try to prevent, give you a graphical or maybe pictorial representation of the things so that it stays with you for long. You're not studying for the heck of it. It's anyway given in your book. You can study it. But here at Vedantu, we try to ensure that whatever you are studying, it makes sense. And things can make sense if you have a visual aid, if you can probably see, okay, this is how things work, this is how diagrams are made, or whatever it can be. So we try to make, the best use of the visual aids. Okay. Now, this is how you're supposed to write a paper. This is what I expect. So it's important to have a legible handwriting, a very neat paper, and most important, please don't write irrelevant stuff. Try to give appropriate answers. Try to leave margins like here. Try to underline the important point. For example, let's say in this point, I have this constitutionally something that's very important and I want to bring it to the notice of the examiner while he's scanning my paper. So I'll just underline a word. But what I've observed is, the minute I say please underline important things, I did observe a lot of answer sheets with the entire answer, when where the entire answer was underlined with a ruler. So you guys use this scale and a pencil or a ruler to underline in this entire thing, that everything is important. Don't do that. Please don't do that. It won't help you anyway. It's gonna look really bad. Create a mess. So whatever you think is important, just underline that. Just underline it. Next important thing, please ensure you write the answer sheet answer number correctly. Then you have to ensure that you write the parts, as I told you, even if it's a 3-mark question. Please give your answer in pointers and ensure that you give 1-line explanation for the same. Then you have to give proper margin space when you jump to the next answer. See how neat and clean the paper looks like. Let's say you've committed a mistake here, and you don't want to bring it to the notice of the teacher. So what you can just put a line like this, a straight line. Rather than doing it like this and bringing it in the creating a fuss and making the teacher get irritated, don't do that. Just a simple line, a simple line over the word would probably help you bring it not to the notice of the teacher. Okay, on that note, I told you we have 1-mark question, we have 3 mark, we have 5 mark, then again we have map questions as well. So on that note, I told you nobody gives importance to 1-mark question. Try to write frame complete sentences when it comes to 1-mark question. It's gonna help you score better. So even we talked about 3-mark questions. So time to revise whatever I told you. Please try to keep your handwriting really neat. Try to make it more presentable, because anyway it's going to define your personality, who you are. And you are not going to be there. It's your answer sheet that's going to be with the teacher. And I told you what's the reason why your handwriting needs to be really up to the mark. Okay, so on that note, I'm going to reveal the information that you guys might be expecting me to do that. So we are coming up with a 2-year long-term JEE course. Yes, we are here at Vedantu coming up with this brilliant JEE course. Okay, so the course price, let me tell you the course price. Rupees 1,49,000. Whereas if you guys avail for it right now, we have the lightning price. Yes, it is rupees 1,29,000, guys. Huge difference, huge. And okay, the start of the day, the start of the course date is, the course is going to start. Any guess? Yes, this coming 8th of April 2019. So I'll tell you what are the benefits if you enroll for this course. First, if you enroll for it right away, you're going to pay just 1,29,000. Anyway, you won't have to spend that huge of an amount. Make sense? Second thing, we've got teachers who have delivered all India ranks. We've got the best teachers, and you just need to open your laptops or sit right in front of your computers. You don't have to travel all the way to those coaching institutes where you waste your time, you waste your energy, and then you feel so off the track that you are left with no time, no energy to come back, sit, study, and take out your doubts, or maybe ask it from the teacher, because that traveling thing is a really big cause of concern. Now here at Vedantu, you are in safe hands, I would say. We've got academic mentors who are going to help you solve your doubts. We have the best qualified teachers across the country. We ensure that we conduct, we conduct tests on and off so that you can probably, evaluate your score of where you stand. That's very, very important. And here at Vedantu, I've seen this. It's like most of the time when we go to the coaching institute, either we are competing with the students who are just there in that coaching institute. At Max, what happens, the coaching institutes, they try to collaborate with each other, okay, and conduct a grand test so that they can evaluate where their children stand, what is the score. And I don't think any coaching institute, wherever you go, you're gonna face that stiff competition. That's gonna start from day one, because here we don't cater to students from a particular region, state, area, or union territory. We cater to the mass, where we try to make education affordable. We ensure that we resolve your doubts. We ensure you do not hesitate, because anyway, it's just your name that's going to reflect, and you won't feel ashamed to ask any type of doubt, because that's not going to tarnish your image anyway. So, guys, what are you waiting for? I've told you enough number of points that here at Vedantu, your doubts will be solved. We're gonna you won't waste your energy, your time. It's very precious. So try not to waste it and try to enroll for this session as quickly as possible. Thank you so much for bearing with me. I hope this lesson was useful to you, and I expect you guys to enroll for this session as quickly as possible, because I'm going to see you in the upcoming session on 8th of April 2019. So till we meet next, take care, stay healthy, stay hydrated, and most important, I always say, please respect your parents. It's very, very important. Thank you guys. I'm going to see you in the next session. Bye bye. Take care.